Well, actually, I think we're referring to a meeting that I had with two colleagues in Beirut with Syrians from various groups to discuss the situation. To the best of my knowledge, these were not Syrian officials or officially sponsored groups, but it was the first time I had met many of them, so I'm not absolutely sure of that. The situation is tragic. There's no other word for it. The destruction, the physical destruction, the loss of life, the creation of one of the world's most severe refugee crises, not only in this century, but in the last century as well. I think it's only the Rwanda crisis which had greater numbers fleeing their homes and their country. No, this was not a meeting organized through the American government. Yes, I served with the American State Department for my whole career, and another colleague as well who was attending, but we did this on our own. It had no blessing, no direction from Washington. It was totally on our initiative. And as I recall, those who had encouraged it, they were saying, well, you're not hearing in America the point of view of others than the critics of the regime. And there is so much suffering, there's so much bloodshed. We want to encourage opening of doors wherever possible to bring about an end to the fighting and to start talks which will lead to a more stable political system in the country. We had 2 meetings, 2 different groups of people. There's no plan to follow this up with those groups or with others at this point in time. It was to learn the attitudes of people from various walks of life in Syria, not from the regime, not from the fighters, the military or the rebel groups, but to broaden our knowledge of the situation and to afterwards think about how we might make some contribution. Well, let me give you my personal view of how the crisis developed in Syria. It was, I believe, in March 2011 when there was a small group of teenagers in the southern center of Daraa who wrote graffiti on the walls, repeating some of the slogans they obviously had been hearing over the radio from the television of what had transpired in Cairo and Tunis before. And the regime was unhappy in Damascus with this particular display of unhappiness with the regime. And they arrested the young people, and this is my understanding. They treated them pretty roughly before returning them to their families, and that's where the difficulties started, from a very small protest statement that the regime should change. Change its ways, go away, whatever. Then the protests were repeated, I believe, peacefully in Homs. I think that was the next spot. I was not in Syria at that time, so this is from the press. And what started as a peaceful demonstration of trying to bring concerns to the viewpoint of to the attention of the government, it became more active and violence broke out. Did we Americans, American government, American private organizations, individuals, stimulate that? No, not at all.